LinkedIn, and patreon.com/Clare Cooley. If you haven't heard yet, patreon.com/Clare Cooley is where all the cool kids hang out. It is a great way to get access to Claire's artwork and stay abreast of all the cool things she's doing. I am going to just share the live stream on Patreon right now while we're talking, while people are filing in. So the Patreon is free to join, but if you become a paid member, you will get access to all of her stencil designs. And you can buy them for $3 a piece, or by just joining for $5 a month, no monthly commitment, you will get all of them for free. And that is a huge value, especially because she keeps adding more. And we're going to be putting up the screenplay based on her book exclusively on the Patreon. That's a 61-page, it might be 62 by now. We keep rewriting it, but that's a really cool thing to get access to, I think. Get a view into the artistic process. And we're coming up with all sorts of cool ways to bring value to you guys on the Patreon. And speaking of the book that the screenplay is based on, check out Incandescence: Rising Above Darkness. That is Clare Cooley's memoir, and the co-founder of Sundance, Serena Catania, called it an instant classic. It's a beautiful book. It's got 52 of her life stories and 68 pieces of her art. It's a truly unique book. It's full color. And since the story is about how she used creativity and art to overcome tremendous adversity, the art being between the chapters is part of the storytelling. And in that way, it's a completely unique book, unlike any other I've ever laid my hands on. Truly epic storytelling and absolutely beautiful art between every chapter. And can't wait for you to check it out and let us know what you think. Leave a comment, leave reviews. That always helps. And if you're tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from and say hi. We'd love to chat with you guys. Right now, I'm showing you an example of one of the stencils that you can get on her Patreon. And these are SVGs, which you can use at home for printing or stencil cutting or any use you want. All right, here we go. I'm going to welcome in Clare Cooley. Without further ado, here she is.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Bodhi, for all your help and your beautiful introduction. I'm like artists usually are. We're not good at self-promoting. I'm so fortunate to have a son who's got all these technical skills and was inspired to turn my memoir into a pitch and for a TV series or movie. That's quite an honor, quite a privilege. And every one of you tuning in to hopefully share in the joy of creativity with us. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for telling others. We do only organic promotion, meaning one person tells another. And that restores my faith in humanity. I shared my stories because people asked me to, saying they help them when they heard them, and they'll help others. So that's why I did it. And I do my art to be an advocate for living in balance with nature, our home, and in harmony with one another. So that's my mission, is to share the healing, life-enhancing creativity that flows through us all. So on that subject, we're sharing the process, not just the outcome, what we create, but the process of creation with you. So what I'm doing right now, which is always what I'm sharing, whatever creative project I'm up to. And that is Essence of Everything, which is inspired by the seasons, the epic seasons here. It became time to do this, and I'm so excited to have the time in my life to focus on it. Turned out the silver lining of the COVID cloud was giving me uninterrupted focus to make over 300 stencil designs and use them in these 4-season kimonos and many other things, including this outfit I'm wearing now has some stencil from my flower stencils, which are up on Patreon. I think there's 18 different flower designs. And I'm about to catch up and put more out there as SVGs that you can use any way you like. Warblers and wildflowers, I have 26 of those, so they're coming soon. And today we're going to show you 5 short videos that we've done on this Essence of Everything project. The mission is to show creativity can flow in any direction we allow it. So it's visual art, in creating the set, creating the costumes, wardrobe. It's spoken word that was first written, turned into audio art with environmental sounds and musical instruments, musical accompaniment. And there's movement choreographed to the sound, the audio art, I like to call it. So it's word, visual art, movement, and sound. And with Bodhi doing the video to share all of those art forms, it pretty much has every art form represented. And my life work, mission, joy is sharing creativity, helping other people access theirs for the healing and life enhancing. The more we use what's around us, the lighter we walk on the earth, the more ecological and the more economical. I've had really economically challenging times in my life, literally no money, but I always kept going with creativity because there's always a way to do that. Our imaginations are a freedom no one else can take away from us, and no circumstance can destroy. So we can choose to keep imagining, keep creating with whatever we have available, and the stepping into creative flow increases our happiness. Expressing our emotions stimulates our immune system. So it's a way to heal and enhance life while walking lightly on the planet, which is good for everybody. So the 2 parts of Essence of Everything for me, creativity flows through us all in any direction we allow it to, and everything is connected. Us with the environment, with each other, the cosmos, all the elements, colors. So that's what Essence of Everything represents for me: free-flowing creativity and the interconnectedness of all of us and with nature. So without further ado,
And we got a few comments. So Meg Litz said, "Such a talented family. You are the epitome of grace and style, Claire. Beautiful mantle and surround."
Thank you so much, Megs. What kind words. That allows me to say something I really want to say, which is that Bodhi knows this is true, that sometimes I say, what has grace and gone out of style? There's so much hoochie coo, and I don't think it's uplifting for women to become the fantasies of men. I think what uplifts us as individuals and as people is to become our own reality, not someone else's fantasy. So I'm all about be a whole person, not just a little sexy doll. And there's so much of that. And I'm really pissed off at the algorithms out there on social media for showing so much of that. We know they're mostly programmed by men, so stop it, grow up, and let women be full, thinking, deep, intellectual, heartfelt, aspirational, full human beings, not just that object for your fantasies. So someone's at our front door, but they'll leave it in our outside container so we can move on. But thank you, Meg. That really, really means a lot to me, what you said. And I am so grateful to have a son. My mother was an artist and encouraged me. My son is an artist, and I've always tried to support him to fulfill himself. And so when he asked me to work with him and named us mother son, I was so honored and delighted. And when we have someone that really tells us the truth, that really is 100% our advocate, we can do more than we can do by ourselves. So I wish that for everyone. And if you don't know who that person or persons are yet, keep looking till you find them. Create that kind of a relationship or relationships in your life where you are advocates for each other's aspirations. So there you go. So now we're going to show 4 seasons in process. The first video is about 3 minutes, and it is a time lapse of the test, which I did in a horizontal on the way to doing them vertical 4 seasons. So you want to show that, Bo?
Yes, I do. And we got a nice comment on YouTube saying, I love the warmth of your interior design sense.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, one of the reasons I want to share, and I'm doing these live streams besides the grants I've gotten to do them, pushing me past my shyness to speak up in front of a camera and all that, is that everybody wants a beautiful home. I've actually had times in my life where I didn't have a home. I've lived in an abandoned building. I lived out of my little Rodno Dauphine. I've lived in a tent. I've lived in a teepee. I know what it's like to have nothing extra. But I always tried to make, no matter how small, even my time in the abandoned building, some part, a little sanctuary, a little refuge. And everybody wants a beautiful home, and I wish everybody had one. And I love to show inexpensive, frugal, fast, fun ways to create with whatever we have around us. So there's a lot of sticks and dried grasses and all kinds of things that cost no money that I've appointed the house with, and we show that as we go. And stencils are a very economical way to do wall freezes, clothes, use, store clothes. Something gets a stain on it. That's how I started. Cover it with a stencil and keep enjoying it. So frugal, fun, and fast is what I'm all about. So
Meg Litz said, there is so much beauty and harmony and peace in your home.
Thank you very much. That's what I wish there was more of in the world. It's what I want. It's what I want for everybody. So this is where I can have an effect on that, is my own life and home. So thank you for acknowledging that.
Great.
Appreciate it. That's what I want to share.
Speaking of the beautiful home that you put a lot of work into, do you want me to show this video that takes place in the living room of the 4 seasons in one landscape?
Yes. So this is
it's got audio. So shall I play it with its audio, or?
Sure.
Okay. This is the one that we had in the #1 folder.
This is a painting, an art project I'm calling Essence of Everything, which of course is very ambitious. Which of course, even the word ambitious is ambitious. It's hard to say. Let's do this. I hope that seeing the joy that I get creating inspires you to follow your creative urges. And if there's anything that makes me as happy as creating, it's knowing that I'm helping other people have greater access to their imaginations, their courage to express it, and their confidence to share it with others. My artistic challenge is to combine the 4 seasons, 4 elements: air, water, earth, and fire, winter, spring, summer, and autumn, midnight, dawn, midday, dusk, snow, rain, rainbow, lightning, blue, green, yellow, and red, the 4 primary colors, the 4 metals: silver, bronze, gold, copper. All of this in one artistic visual representation without losing the grace, the natural harmony. So that's my challenge to myself. It also has 4 botanicals. It's watercolor, it's sumi ink, it's also got some acrylic paints and the metallic paints, as well as the colored pencil. So I'm combining all of these things. So this drafting table that I've expanded to be wide enough for this 57-inch wide painting with foam core. So during the painting part, with watercolor and the water running, I can do it flat. Yes, the whole thing can rotate and go up and down, as well as flat or angle. I try to have everything in my life have multi-purposes and be easy to transform. So here's our green screen for some video work we're doing. So here is my pencils. I love having all these colors. This makes me feel rich. Just have all these colors to work with. I feel like a wealthy person. Here is a tray of my colors, and here's the number on the top of each container corresponding to my little color strip here. So until next time, stay creative and enjoy. Okay, so that was the first test. And now we're going to move to the kimonos, which are going to be worn in the performance piece. And we're going to show just a minute and a half of the winter kimono being painted. So first I drew the drawings that then turned into stencils, and then they're painted on whatever, in this circumstance, they're painted on kimonos, but I've also used them on walls, on hats, on cards, on art, so many uses.
Can I read some comments first?
Please do.
Sumner said, "You are an inspiration as you successfully navigate the rapids and waterfalls of life."
Thank you. And we're both, Sumner and I are both water dragons, so I guess that's why we got the water themes going there. But I love water, and I love dragons, and I love the water theme. So thank you. That's a really sweet compliment.
So then Joni B said, "Very lovely video on YouTube." Hey, Joni.
Hey, Joni, nice that you're here. And thank you very, very much. So let's
And one more. Facebook,
great.
Meg Litz said, "There is so much intention and consideration to your art, Claire. Incredible depth and complexity. So satisfying."
What a lovely, lovely thing to say. Um, I have. I am by nature a contemplative. You could call it a recluse, an introvert, but I think I'm an omnivert because I love people and I love connecting with them, but I have a profound need for processing in solitude and quiet. So that makes me, you know, I think Bodhi and I are both omniverts who crave a lot of solitude to do our work, but we love people and are inspired by connecting with them as we're doing right now. So thank you so much. And
And I'll
so
play the next video. I
the,
think
yeah.
I think an ambivert.
Oh,
Omniverts and ambiverts are close to the same thing. I think an ambivert is a personality has a balance of extrovert and introverted features, whereas I think an omnivert switches back and forth unpredictably. So I think there's some negative connotations with omniverts.
we don't want to go to any negative connotations. No, balance is one of the themes of my life. So that's why I like to dance on skates, I guess, and play a.
I could have gotten that wrong. I need to do a little bit of research, everybody. If you guys know, let us know in the comments. It's a little bit more complicated than that. I'm gonna look into that.
Good, thank you. And yeah, I can make up words, and I do often. So
no, you didn't make it up, and I think you might actually be right. Okay, so there we go. But we'll get back to you on that one.
All right, so the kimono in the winter kimono, we're going to show the minute of. This is the crane is the animal that represents winter for me and for this project, and the evergreen branches. And so here is the winter kimono, and silver is the metal. So that is what I did for the 4 seasons, is use the metal. So spring is bronze, summer is gold, autumn is copper. So there we are. That's cranes, winter, evergreen, silver. The primary color is blue. The element is air. The mood is contemplative. Great. So that's the kimono, the costume wardrobe part. And now we're going to show some other stencils, which these stencils came first from me painting on clothes to cover a stain because it was a beautiful coat and I didn't want to not be able to wear it. And then this project gave me the impetus to do these. I love finding a treasure in a used store or using something that people pass to me because they don't have a use for it anymore or grown out of it or just changed style. And so things that other people might discard, I love making into art to wear. So these are just examples of stencils on, fancy everyday clothing, all the way from, I put them on a baseball cap, all bags, recycle bags, or fancy or t-shirts, everyday clothing, all the way to elegant outfits. And so there's so many uses for stencils, which is why it's what I'm sharing with my Patreon members. because there's so many different joyous ways we can use them to make a beautiful, peaceful home inexpensively and have fun doing it. And clothing that we can turn into something completely unique, expressing our aesthetic, our creativity. So here's some examples of what came from starting this essence of everything project and wanting to use stencils on the kimonos turned into me designing 300 of them. So it's very wonderful to give ourselves permission to explore a curiosity. We never know where it's going to lead, and the best way to learn anything is by doing it. So just start and have fun doing it, and you will not only learn things, but you will get new ideas, new inspiration while doing it, of ways that whatever medium you're working with, whatever form of creativity, by doing it, other ideas will be stimulated. So that's what I love to share. Just have fun, just play, keep that childlike enthusiasm for learning things and trying new things. And medically documented, great way to not get old, not lose mental acuity, is to keep trying new things, keep doing things that you haven't done before or in a way you've never tried before. Keep expanding and learning. Challenging ourselves is really good for our brains, and besides our happiness factor. So doing the same thing over and over isn't necessarily happy making or longevity promoting and mental acuity saving. So keep having fun, keep challenging ourselves is what creativity is great for. So now let's go to the 1 minute, 40-second, the scrolls. So after I did the landscape as a test, then it was time to do the 4 seasons in the vertical scrolls. So we have a time lapse, I think, of that. So that's 1 minute and 40 seconds. You want to show that? So this is it in the landscape, and all 4 seasons in one. And then we're going to show the process of me turning that test of these ideas into 4 seasons in scrolls, how I laid it out and did the composition, and then started bringing in the color. And first I did them in very light colors, and I lived with that for a while. And then I decided to make the colors much more intense. And I often do that, and I'm a big advocate of objectivity breaks. So I always have several different projects going at once, so I can take a break from one and come back to it with a fresh mind and objectivity, and hopefully see the right thing to do next. We can get, I can, and I think we all can get kind of intoxicated by doing it, because it is happy making. Stepping into creative flow, medically documented, improves our happiness. So we can just want to keep going. And my mother, who was fine art trained and had a degree and worked in studios, said to me, you're not like any artist I ever have seen. Most of them ruin their work. And I realized that's because we can become attached to doing it and the feeling we get from doing it, and then we can overdo it. So how do we save ourselves from overdoing it is work on something else. Come back.
Yeah, fantastic. Meg Litz said, as a photographer, I appreciate that you know there is a different perspective in portrait slash vertical versus landscape slash horizontal. It's especially fascinating to watch your process.
Thank you very much. I I think that the process can be as important as the product. My first visual art, I never thought of myself, I never needed to define myself, but I never thought of myself as an artist, as a painter. I just started doing sumi brushstroke because it was a beautiful meditation. And I threw everything I did away on this newsprint because it was just a way to learn to breathe through the stroke and relax and move without any constriction in my body. It was a meditation, a moving meditation. And then my first sumi painting was a friend had a heart attack, and I did an iris, and I brought it to the, he was a painter, and I brought it to the hospital, and he was in intensive care in a glass room. So I taped it facing him on the outside of the glass so he could see it. And that was the first painting I did. This, well, I've shown First Bird before, which is on the web store that Bodhi built for me. First Bird was when, at that sumi brushstroke meditation time, a man was throwing away these inks. And I said, don't throw that away. And he was like, what can you do with it? And I just put a piece of paper on the floor and did this thing that came out as a bird. And that I didn't even mean to make a piece of art, but all these years later, I still love it. So sometimes our first things come just from a feeling, can be wonderful, happy, increasing in our lives, and classic. And so there we go. Let us go to showing, using what we have. We have a 100-year-old carriage house behind the house, and we decided
I just
instead of,
wanted to put up bird lines real fast because you were talking
oh,
about First Bird,
right,
aka Bird Lines.
there it is.
You can
Yes.
find that on clarecooley.com
Isn't it
/shop.
wonderful
Yep.
that I have a, what did Meg call you? Your technical abilities, she had a great name that I'd never heard before. Texpertise.
My expertise, right.
There you go. Bodhi's Texpertise. He could just find that piece of art and put it up. I'm so grateful. Technology is not my natural. I'm a hands-on, make dishes, design furniture, paint on everything kind of person. And he's got the technical, and that makes us a great team.
Yes, Meg Litz said Techspert.
Techspert, that's it. Thank you. And I want to see your photography, Meg. So I hope you'll share that.
Yeah, share your process with us. We'd love to see it.
Exactly. So if we enjoy the process, everything is that we do is wonderful, is great. If we experience joy while we're creating it, it's a masterpiece, because joy is a masterpiece. So the thing that we make is not as important as the feeling we get while we're making it. And people can be very confused about that. Though I do think it's really nice if we make things that other people also enjoy and get that mark of excellence that a classic or a remembered piece of artistic creation can get. That's wonderful too. So don't get me wrong on that. So the carriage house turning into our studio so we don't have to have the green screen up in the living room. Let's show that little quick video. Come on in. we decided to reclaim it as a living room. So we're going to use another space to turn into a video art exercise studio where I can even skate dance. Let's show you how we're doing that as the DIY Not Duo. One of the things I love about this project we're doing now is for the first time in my life, I'm going to have a studio that's outside of my home. And what I really love about it is the commute. Oh, look how easy that was. Let's go upstairs. Probably don't want to get.
No.
That's probably not a shot the world needs. They want it, but they can't have it. Come on up. So this space actually used to be an apartment. The upstairs was so creepy that Bodie used it for his No Hero horror film. We found some artifacts from the early 1900s, some letters and magazines in the floorboards that we'll be sharing with you later.
1920s catalog of photographic art studies.
Opened a window that hadn't been opened in probably 100 years, let in the fresh air. All right. Well, I have to admit, it's very gratifying to see the work we've done and how we've used every space here in the Emerald Lady to be a place we can create and share our creativity with you. And I just love that. And it's so wonderful to have saved this 120 something year old well-built structure, but there was so much leaking in the cellar when we bought it, so much deferred maintenance. None of the support beams were even touching the ground in the cellar. They had rotted away at the bottom. So they were just pulling on the joists. So we put in jack posts and we saved the house from collapsing in the middle, and that feels really, really good. you know,
Ding.
preserve the history here and in this exceptional, one of a kind place in the world. Um, yes, Bodhi, I see you want to say something.
Meglit said, I have loved watching you two transform the carriage house. Always a place for housing transportation. It now houses your creativity that transports us. Ooh.
Oh, nice. I'm going to use that one. How beautiful is that?
Your creativity definitely brings fresh air and fresh perspectives to life. And then she said, hey, Chippy, to the chipmunk at the end.
Nice. Yeah, he was a walk-on that volunteered his services to make our work better, and we really appreciate that. We've had some that decided to they lived inside the house, but we we coaxed them back out because the animals should live outside, in my opinion.
He
Um,
stole the show for sure.
he did.
And on YouTube, Joni B said, your statement about the joy of creating a piece being more important than the result is so nourishing. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Joni, for saying that as well. And it helps me go into something I really want to say, which is we're in a world that promotes specialization. And mostly that's because people are afraid. And I've had no money, and I know it's much more difficult to get what you need when you have no funds. I have experienced that. So I have heart and compassion for people being afraid not to have enough money. But I chose, art is what gives me hope and joy and helps me get through all the rest of it. So I've always given, saved my energy for my art. So when I had to do other things to pay the bills, it was stuff that didn't take all of my energy so I could keep going as an artist. And so I'm a creative generalist, and so is Bodhi, in a world that specializes, most people specialize for that hourly rate, for that salary, for the money, afraid not to have enough. And I think it can make people and society myopic when the more we can do, the more we experiment and try things and learn and solve problems as we learn. We didn't know how to restore an old home before we purchased this, but we sure learned a lot doing it. And especially with the internet now, there's so much research available that we can do many things ourselves, and everything we do, whether it's refinishing the floors, blah blah blah, gives us a little more confidence in life and helps us feel a little safer, in my opinion. So I think it's very important to keep exploring, keep trying things, keep learning things, and keep expanding our experiences and being a creative generalist. I love to try to make everything I want in my life, except for a vehicle. But I would like to design a bamboo bicycle that was solar charged, solar battery. So getting up hills at the end of the day. I'd like to do that in my life. We'll see if I get there. But pretty much everything in a house I've designed and or made, jewelry, clothing, as well, writing, because I give myself permission to, and I don't think I'm better than anyone else at any of these things. I'm just better at being me. And that's all I want to be better at. That's all I could be better at. And it's all the world needs is for us to be the best us. So there we go. Oh, maybe I'll finish it with this, that when I do this Essence of Everything performance, which we're going to keep sharing until it's done, Thursday, hopefully we're going to share the work we've done in front of the green screen with the prose pieces on the Four Seasons and the dance to the prose seasons. with the green screen keyed out, as they say in the industry, and the seasonal paintings put behind them will be very magical. So we're going to share that. And oh, I was going to go somewhere with that I've forgotten. That happens. I'm a stream of consciousness. I never write scripts for these, as you can tell. And that's okay. It's fine to let ourselves flow. And oh, I got it. When I do the Essence of Everything performance piece, I'm going to give myself, because it originally was my degree plan for Antioch, the Wallace University, because I've always known what I want to share is creativity. But I decided, why am I paying them to recognize I can educate myself, as my degree committee said? Why am I borrowing money to do that, go into debt to do that? Just go out in the world and do it. So I did. I came to Duluth in my 20s, and people said, teach. And I ended up teaching every grade level, learned how to be a teacher by doing it, sharing creativity, my own curriculum, dancing into the arts, sharing the interconnectedness of all the arts, which is what Essence of Everything is a demonstration of. The degree plan was called The Study of Movement, what everything has in common in the universe. Everything is moving. And so now, doing it all these years later, I'm going to give myself an honorary degree from the University of Authenticity, a degree in being me. So that completes that dream this many years later, and it's very happy making that I didn't forget it or forsake it. And it doesn't matter how many years later we complete a vision or a dream, it still is just as valid and rewarding. So there you go.
Fantastic. All right.
So we'll be back Thursday at noon, and we're going to show you the green screen work, which is really exciting because it's very magical. And there is magic in technology, like the magic of connecting with you guys, and these virtual visits, which really make my heart very happy. And we're walking lightly on the planet to do it. We're not driving and flying, and so we can connect with you guys and around the world. So how
Meg
wonderful.
Litz said, more of us need to pursue that degree.
Nice. Well, maybe we'll start a University of Authenticity, and all people have to do to get a degree is be true to themselves and do what makes them happy. And we do what we love and share it with the world. I like it.
I do too. Good stuff. Well, if I missed anybody's comments on YouTube or Facebook, I'll make sure that she sees them. We also go live on Twitch and LinkedIn and patreon.com/Clare Cooley. And yeah, again, we mentioned her Patreon, which is a really cool way to sign up to stay connected with her. You can also support her work there. And we mentioned her book, Incandescence Rising Above Darkness. Make sure to check that out. And if you already have, please leave a review on Amazon. It helps us tell more people about the book.
Yes,
and we really appreciate you guys helping us with our grassroots marketing and getting the word out there. It means a lot.
Thank you. And I like to tell people that Clare is spelled Clare, no I, because it's not the common spelling. And I've seen a lot of people, especially recently, get lost on the way to me because they put that I in there. There's no I in Clare, which is kind of a funny little pun there.
It is.
Because I'm all about you, but there's no you in Clare either. All right, I'm getting goofy. It's
Good.
maybe it's time to sign off. Thank you, Bodhi. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It really, really means a lot to me.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody.